One of the easiest things to do is to play coy. When you talk about the shift in the industry and how games are going to different platforms, sometimes a lot of people want to, in a sense, maybe purify the criterion, or the criteria as to why these games are going to other platforms. The reality is they're all going to other platforms because of financial gain. It's expedient financially that for their survival, they move these games to other platforms. Xbox basically paved the way to say we're just going to do day and date to PC. We're going to use the PC platform to be that one platform that makes up for the lack of console sales that we have. And they've benefited greatly from it. PlayStation, on the other hand, seemingly took a stance where they, at one point, had their own developers believing that their games will never come to the PC platform. If we take a very close look at, say, maybe the tweet from June 2nd, 2022, you'll see that Insomniac, when they were asked about Spider-Man coming to other platforms, responded and said it will never appear on Xbox or PC. It is a permanent PS4 exclusive, and I guess they meant to say published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this shift right now is something that we're seeing at the end of the day. In fact, another really interesting one was MLB The Show's first details just got announced. And you guys know that this has now become one of my more fond of games in terms of, titles. I went ahead and I bought me a few copies of them, physical copies. I think I got me MLB The Show. Which one is the one I have sitting here? I have one copy on for the PS4 sitting over here. I think it's MLB The Show 20. Then I think I got MLB The Show 2021 on Xbox, and I got the latest MLB The Show on Xbox as well, which also goes to Game Pass. So they talk about the sneak peek, they talk about the season, and talk about season 4 for MLB The Show 24, and then they're also talking about MLB The Show 25. And on clicking and looking further, I saw something very interesting with MLB The Show's website. It says theshow.com. I think this particular franchise is very interesting. They go ahead and they post all of these different logos, MLB players, Sony Interactive, PlayStation Studios, San Diego Studios, and so on and so forth. Then they talk about the copyright and the trademarks. And somewhere they list Microsoft's Xbox and Nintendo's Switch with the logos, pretty much highlighting that these are trademarks of the respective companies, even though they don't highlight them at the top. Now, this particular interesting aspect just tells me that when it's financially expedient, you're going to see the industry move in very interesting ways. It could be at the behest of, say, maybe a company or maybe the circumstance, but at the end of the day, you can't deny that the move is going to happen. And when you even go with Nintendo at this rate, everyone thinks that Nintendo is, not everyone, but there are people that think that Nintendo is some kind of a sacred cow. To which I usually laugh and say, how cute that anybody would think that a business or a corporation is immune to realities of the market, of which these realities are some that I strongly believe that at some point, every company would have to either adapt or, skirt around, or at the end of the day or in the last stretch, they'd have to face. And this particular comment that I got a while back on a video, I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about how somebody was calling me an idiot or dumb because I said that very soon, it would not be long, we would start seeing Nintendo make some moves to expand its reach and its audience. In saying all of this and in actually going ahead to posit this particular theory, I got a string of comments and I got a string of attacks, of which I laughed at and I didn't say anything. And I asked the person said, now check this out. They said at first, Xbox is doing what Nintendo is doing, and they said Nintendo is not putting any of their games on any other platform, so you're dead wrong. And then they said just because you can play Xbox games on a laptop or whatever else does not make it the same as the Nintendo Switch. It baffles me that someone would do these kinds of mental gymnastics to damage control Xbox's dumb, in quote, third-party push, of which we know that if you're talking about a third-party push, both Xbox and PlayStation would have to be categorized as dumb, which I don't agree with. But again, this is this person's own mental gymnastics that they're doing. So I asked them and said, do you mean there are no Nintendo games outside of the platform? Nintendo did not innovate a system and so on and so forth. And then they said, so now you're being stupid on purpose. So now I get a dumb one, I get a mental gymnastic one, and I get a stupid one, basically in the space of a few comments. And they say, you're acting like you don't have an argument. If you're going to act like Nintendo's handheld hybrid console is the same as Xbox going third party, then I think you should honestly go get a job already and stop posting videos every hour. So again, this person has basically called me unemployed and jobless, all because I told him that Nintendo has, well, all because I questioned whether or not Nintendo has games outside of the platform, of which I knew the answer. But one of the best things you can do to see if somebody has a good faith argument or a bad faith argument is you just ask questions. And once you start seeing their response, you can tell where they stand. Of which, I mean, some of us knew this, but again, and again, I apologize, guys. I was baiting this fool. I just, I wanted to see where they were because they came out with a heavy-handed attack. And so I said, okay, there are no Nintendo games outside the platform. And I said, this should be a yes or no question. Some people even didn't know. They were like, dude, is there a game? Somebody was like, and, straight from Missouri said, I thought Super Mario Run was on the phone. No, it is. You are correct. Look at you. Behind door number 1 is Mario Kart Tour. That's the game that's actually there. I don't know if there's a Super Mario Run. There might be a Super Mario. Yeah, there it is. You're right. Sorry, Super Mario Run. And there are about 5 of these games that are Nintendo games. So, it kept going. We kept going out there. And then this person came back just 19 minutes ago, which got me on the mic. And they said, tell me which Nintendo Switch games are available on phones. Now, you tried to deviate from your original argument, and I will not let you slip. You said Nintendo is not putting any of their games on other platforms, so you're dead wrong. Now that you're very aware that Nintendo has not only 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 games on the mobile platform, basically the App Store and the Google Play Store, you are now trying to filter out with new criteria Nintendo Switch games. Well, I know I'm being a little technical here, but the reality was when I made that video, it was based on the fact that Nintendo has access to other platforms. And this is almost similar to what PlayStation hyperfans have done. They've said with a game like MLB The Show, it's not a game like Spider-Man going on Xbox, so it doesn't really matter, nor does it count. Again, you see this is what we call mental gymnastics, because at the end of the day, the criteria is that they've actually put a game on another platform. That's all the criteria is. A game being developed by their own studios have now made its way outside of the ecosystem that they've built and the ecosystem that they've created. This is all that's needed for you to be able to say that this particular publisher is a third-party publisher. That's it. You don't need anything else. The moment PlayStation decided that they were going to go and publish their games on PC, it is the exact same moment that they became a third-party publisher. In fact, let me even give you a very interesting story because I followed this thing very closely and very carefully. The Steam sale is coming very soon. Watch the language that's going to be used when publishers start to actually publish their, sales on Steam. I have a video that I made of it. I can put a screenshot here for some of you if you want, but no, I want you to go investigate yourself so you can discover on your own. They usually write, this third-party publisher event is brought to you by, and then they'll list the name of the publisher, Capcom, Warner Brothers Games, PlayStation Studios, Xbox Studios, Activision, whoever the publisher is. Steam considers them all third-party publishers. Epic Games considers them all third-party publishers. Good Old Games considers them all third-party publishers. Xbox considers Ubisoft a third-party publisher. Ubisoft considers Xbox a third-party publisher. The moment you have moved outside of your platform, you are now a third-party publisher. That's the only criteria that you need. I see some people saying, well, mobile is not the same because it's not directly an opposing platform. My dude, this is simply the platform that is giving today's modern gaming a run for its money. All those technological advancements that are being made on these high-end devices that can play these games, when you think about it and then see the speed at which the mobile industry and the mobile game technological advancements are coming along, it is a direct threat to console and even PC gaming. This is why handhelds are being created as a stopgap, because the fact that you can carry these things everywhere that you go and you can basically game on the go is also very powerful. And even themselves, Nintendo, understand, and they know this. When the Nintendo Switch came out, it was 2017. Phones were already powerful, but not to the point where they could run a game like Assassin's Creed Mirage. But once the Assassin's Creed Mirage game finally got its own, mobile patch, I was so surprised that, I knew this probably sent shivers down the spines of everybody, because what this meant now was not only now can we start exploring the fact that these games are playable on consoles, and these are AAA action adventure games, blah, blah, blah. We're now in a position where these games that are full blown can now be hosted on cell phones. Now, if that does not concern you as a console manufacturer that has to do research and development and spend all this money in making a new console, then nothing else can, because this is just the reality. So, what do? You ensure that you can actually hedge yourself in that market and maintain a good presence. This is why I think there was another, announcement just recently that Animal Crossing was going to be going up in price in January. They're giving right now, if you go to the Animal Crossing mobile, whatever on the App Store, it's about $9.99. But by January, they're going to raise the price. They're doing an entry fee. They're being competitive and giving incentives for people to play their games on a mobile platform. So now, if I wanted to engage in a Mario Kart game from Nintendo, published by Nintendo, developed by its studios, I don't need a Nintendo Switch to do so. Even though for me to play specific titles, yes, I can get a Nintendo Switch, but they've already crossed the line and they're now a third-party publisher. So anybody that wants to maybe use all these other publishers to justify, their own hatred or their own disdain for Xbox's third-party push, I think you're barking up the wrong tree simply because the market has left you and you need to basically get your act together and figure out what's going on. So I'm glad that this particular person came full circle to ask me this big question. And I laughed and I said, well, it's a nice try because you said Nintendo Switch game. But again, this was already going on in the background and you didn't know, you insulted me without actually checking, what in the world was going on. And so I'd say, maybe exercise a little caution before you start ragging on, someone about something that you have not necessarily verified. Because sometimes we make that mistake, and I'm not going to be too hard on you. I made that mistake today as well. We make mistakes all the time. We don't necessarily get all the facts, but always be calm and always kind of, exercise a little bit of patience. That can really help you come to really good conclusions. Thank you so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.